Sony and Microsoft are constantly tinkering with their consoles. This is something that really kind of came prevalent with the Xbox 360 PS3 era, more so maybe on the Xbox side because they were constantly updating the Xbox 360. They updated the graphics and they updated the UI and they updated everything. Even the gamer tags and things like that got constantly updated. They introduced Party Chat, which people don't believe it, but Party Chat wasn't there for the entire time of the Xbox 360. Some people think maybe it ruined some things. You know, I used to remember the real raucous days when I'd be in a Party Chat or I'd be just in a regular chat before Party Chat was out, we playing Call of Duty or Halo or whatever with my friends. You get into the you get into the lobby, and boy, everybody just cussing at each other, calling each other names. You really had to have thick skin. But again, it's just video games. I can remember one thing that we used to do, just real quick detour, because I like telling these stories real quick. But we used to play with my friend Grave, and if you used to play Call of Duty on the PS3 version in particular, like Call of Duty 4, there was a long loading screen, but you could hear as you were going into the room, and you could hear people talking in the lobby still while it loaded. So I used to always go, "This is Grave. I'm gonna get 100 kills on you assholes," and we'd just be cussing at them and stuff, and they would like basically paint a target on Grave, and they would they would go to head on him, basically, which was pretty funny if you think about it. And then after the game, they'd be like, "What happened to those 100 kills, man?" And he'd be like, "Well, that was my friend that did that." So, yeah, that was a pretty funny kind of story that happened. But yeah, listen, they're always updating. Sony looks like is updating the PlayStation 5 even more so than what we thought or originally knew. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting topic. I know for one, I'm very excited to kind of jump into this and just see what everybody thinks because again, these are the types of topics that I'm most interested in, so I know that there's going to be a good portion of you guys that are going to be very interested in these topics. So, not having anything that's static in the hardware world, I think, is pretty much the norm from now on. So, we'll see what happens with this bit of news, but I can't wait to dive into it. Let's go ahead and get started. This could be very impertinent news for the PlayStation brand, and now we have a little bit of an idea of what's going on here. Sony has reportedly registered a new PlayStation 5 model. The CFI 1200 PS5 is said to have updated radio equipment inside of it, but don't expect any external changes. This is the way these things go with these new updated versions of consoles. Sony appears to have registered a new PlayStation 5 model in Japan, and as the company received construction design certification in April, this approval is likely for the PS5 itself. Obviously, Sony's console uses CFI 1XXX model numbering scheme. Having received a certification in Japan's Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications, a new hardware design is to conform actually to the latest radio and wireless communication equipment standard. This isn't the first time that Sony has changed the PS5 internally, as the first revision shaved some weight off the console and added a thumbscrew to the base stand. Last year, it was reported that the PlayStation 5 internal redesign was actually in development itself, while Sony confirmed that it was thinking seriously about an architecture change to alleviate supply chain issues caused by global semiconductor shortages. Since it launched in November of 2020, the PS5's external appearance has remained the same, and this looks like to be the case again with the new model. It also ties in with Sony's plans to make the PS5 consoles more readily available this year itself, as the company has projected that it will sell many millions more PlayStation 5 units in the current fiscal year than they began in April 1st, and runs through all the way of March 31st, 2023. Now, as part of Sony's latest investor briefing, the company said it projects to sell 18 million PS5 consoles during this financial year, with the number based on the company's current visibilities into parts procurement. 18 million units is what we feel very comfortable we can get the parts and components for during fiscal year 2022, according to CFO Hiroki Totoki during the earnings briefing. We feel that there's a little bit of higher demand than that too. So the question is, if we can meet the demand, I think we'll still sort on that somewhat. Sony has sold more than 19 million, and actually they've recently announced 20 million since the console launched. And if you're looking to grab them for yourself, there's obviously going to be different times and places that you can find them. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be a little bit more of a difficult process because the PlayStation 5 has just honestly been that much harder to find than what people probably realized. For me personally, I think that, they've done a good job of getting some of the stock out lately, but I've still yet to see a PlayStation 5 actually in a store. So that's pretty incredible. Now, I'm going to be honest and say I've not seen an Xbox Series X in store either, although I have seen, obviously, Xbox Series S's in the store. I think, those are obviously going to be a little bit more easier to come by. But, kudos to Microsoft for having the foresight to have a Series S in the first place. And the other thing is, Sony obviously have a very popular console, and they don't have enough supply to meet demand. So, yeah, that is a very interesting type of situation when it really comes down to it. I honestly hope that they can come out there and actually beat the demand, because I've always said, I wonder what could happen if both Microsoft and Sony just had no supply constraints and were able to, do whatever they want in regards to the availability of their consoles. Now, is that something that's going to happen and continually happen? Listen, I don't know. I can't really speak for the future, but I do think that it makes sense that if there were the ability to actually play and get these consoles, I think that we would see unprecedented sales, and obviously there's already pretty much unprecedented demand. We just have to get to the point where the sales kind of meet the demand, and I think that's the part where we're going to struggle a little bit, and can probably continue to struggle a little bit. But yeah, that's very nice to see that kind of Sony has got out there and made sure to let everybody know, hey, we're going to have this amount of consoles, and we still might be a little bit short. So obviously trying to end the scalper situation is proving a little bit tougher than people thought. I mean, listen, my own older brother had problems with finding a PS5, and he actually paid a scalper. I think he got his for like $700 or something, so he didn't have to pay as much as some of these people. But it's still crazy to think that there's all these different people that want this console and that aren't actually able to go out there and get it. That's such a crazy thing to me. I mean, it's a video game console, and to think that people actually want to get these things and they can't. I mean, that's not how you do good business. So you can imagine that both Sony and Microsoft really, really want everybody to go out there and kind of do their own thing and be able to get the games, because if you can't sell the consoles, you're not going to be able to sell the the software and services. And that's, I think, where the real money is at for both Sony and Microsoft. And I hope that we see some of these things change before too long, because that's going to be exactly what gamers are looking for. They 100% want to see these consoles in their homes and things like that. So hopefully we see that before too long. I'm looking myself to see what can happen in the long term when it comes to these types of updates and things like that. But if you guys are interested in any of this stuff, or you like the video, please leave a like on it. It helps it to be seen and the channel to grow. Have a fantastic day. Rack 'em up, crap 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.